Yo, 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 what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Justin, and I am here with my boy Caleb.
What's
Caleb,
going on?
how we feeling today?
Feeling great. Monday, ready to get this week going. Fresh off the 4th of July.
Yeah, how was your 4th of July?
It was chill. Just played golf, went over a buddy's house. Bought some fireworks. That was cool. What about you? How was yours?
Mine was good. I went up north, chilled, had some great time with some great people. Very sleep deprived. I was partying pretty hard.
Yep, have to.
I stayed up till to watch the sunrise one day.
Yep.
Stars were beautiful one night, so watched the stars. Really, really great time. And then today, a very nice little easing day for me at work.
Yeah.
We had the Detroit Sports Media Association golf outing. Shout out to Neil Rule, who's the president. And I went there. I clipped the morning show, chilled, and then after the morning show, I took a ride, and I went to go hang out with Neil and D-Mac, and we hung out on the course, chilled out. They're both very good at golf. It's very impressive to watch them play.
That's what I'm hearing.
Neil made probably 6 or 7, 20-footers plus. D-Mac is an artist with the chip in his hand, and then he can slam the ball when he's driving. It's so impressive. So that was fun. Had some peach Crown Royale mixed with iced tea and raspberry puree mixed with regular Crown. Very, very good. Very nice afternoon. Had a Coors Light to finish it off on the last 3 holes with them. And we have to go edit some clips later tonight. But they also inspired me. I'm going to go golfing today, which I'm very excited about. Gonna go have a couple beers, maybe smoke a pre-roll on the course.
Yep. Those are essential.
Are you smoking some weed?
A little bit. I actually taking a little tolerance break right now.
I respect that.
Yeah, I just started.
every once in a while.
Yeah, started yesterday. So the sleep wasn't that great last night.
That's brutal. Yeah.
But gonna try to hold strong maybe for a month or so, and then.
Well, it's worth it, 100%.
Yeah,
so,
definitely worth it.
And it's good to also get your lungs cleared out.
Yep.
I know me as a hockey player, I usually have to take a tea break before hockey season to clean myself out, make sure I'm ready for the season.
Yep.
What was I about to ask you? Whatever. All right, so we're going to get into it. The sports, as you guys come here to see, you don't come as here's Gap as much as we like to think so. Shout out Just Fan, Ryan, and Alan W. for being in chat. Almago will either homer or at least have an RBI tonight. Probably, but we'll see. Only time will tell.
Almago plus 900 did a homer tonight. Who knows? If you want to throw some money down on that?
We'll get to that in a second. So, I've been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I've still been popping out the content.
Yeah.
I've been throwing out Red Wings videos. They've been doing very well on the channel.
Yeah.
So we need to get into it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I want to hear your thoughts about this team because I don't think we've ever talked about the Red Wings before. And I know you're not necessarily love hockey or watch it, but I mean you got to have some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, like he said, not the biggest hockey guy. Still trying to learn the game itself and the personnel. But from what I understand, I mean you got to trust the Yzer plan, right? Who's the guy we just signed last week?
Tarasenko,
yeah, great signing. And it's kind of sounding like you got to save some money for Sider and Raymond, right?
Yeah, I think Yzerman's done. And we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, they're both going to cost you around $8 million. Mm-hmm. More for probably Sider.
Yeah. And then a ton of goalies on the team. So you think one of those goalies get moved?
I think they might try to move Husso to free up some money, but at the end of the day, he's an expiring contract. So I honestly think they might keep the three-man rotation. Husso might start the year on the long-term injured reserve, LTIR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know what they're going to do with that. I do think Jack Campbell will probably be in Grand Rapids to help Kosa because he's a veteran who's played all around the league. So I think giving a young goalie who's working on improving his game, I think that's a very useful tool for him. Augustine will probably go back to Michigan State for a year, and that's who I'm really excited about. But so the rundown on the free agent signings is what you see with teams that are in this position, a lot of times they'll overspend and they'll hinder their window.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Steve Yzerman did not do.
Perfect.
Because you saw every contract he signed was 2 years maximum. He was not giving out the 4-year Stamkos deal, which was too much money. And hockey's a lot different than a lot of other sports. The salary cap is much smaller, and so like Tarasenko on $4.5 million is an unreal deal. Like,
how old is he?
He's 34, I think. He's in very productive. Like, he's at the end of his prime.
Yeah.
But he's going to be productive for these 2 years. Where the third year would be where the risk comes in. Where Patrick Kane is 36 right now.
Yeah.
Where he's you're banking on a guy who just had hip surgery and didn't play the entire year to produce big numbers, and you don't want him to hinder your window on a $4 million contract with incentives.
Yeah.
When you're ready to win a championship, you're ready to pay someone like Steven Stamkos, and you won't have to overpay him because your team is so good.
Yeah.
And then just to give you some knowledge on, so I don't know how much Spenny talks about the wings on heavyweights, but he and I agree. Like, this system is loaded. Like, you want to talk about like the Tampa Bay Rays in their prime farm system.
Yeah,
wise.
the
That's
Wings
what
have
the
like
Wings have in their farm system. Their farm system is absolutely unbelievable.
Is it number one? I saw something where it was. Is it
It's top 3.
top 3?
100% top 3. I don't know off the top of my head, but I will just look for you real quick. But no, it's an amazing. It's amazing time to be a Red Wings fan because you're about to see the growth of number 2 2024 prospect pool. That was before this draft, so I'm assuming they possibly could have gone higher. Chase Amley, what up, though? Great to have you here. But yeah, I'm so excited for the season. I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. You're going to see a lot of youth. I think that he's not going to start the year with the youth. He's going to like slowly integrate them into the lineup as the year goes on. But I think that by the end of the year, you're going to have 5 to 7 rookies in your lineup.
Yeah. Is there so Edvinson? He's one of those guys, right?
Yes.
Is he on the
100%? He's making it day one.
Is he what line is he going to play?
The second line. He's going to be on the second line. He's going to be arguably the second best defenseman on the team, maybe third.
Nice. Love to hear it. Love it.
And I was talking to D-Mac today. He was saying there's a possibility Edvinson might play on the PP. He's that high on Edvinson. So, I mean, you got D-Mac, you got Spenny, you got me all high on Edvinson. Yeah. So, I mean, I trust those opinions 100%. Did you guys see Vladimir Tarasenko and Patrick Kane presser? I saw a little bit of Patrick Kane's, and he talked about, which was really interesting. I want to hear your thoughts about this. Patrick Kane was hyping up the city of Detroit to get Tarasenko here, telling him how nice it was. Like, that's amazing to hear, and hopefully it extends past the Red Wings to every other sport where people start to see that this is a nice city now. Yeah. This is a nice place to live. Michigan's a gorgeous place. People don't know about Northern Michigan enough, which also will keep it that way because it's nice not having a million people there.
Exactly.
But that's some great stuff to hear.
Yeah. It's from the outside looking in, I would assume you think of Detroit and it's it's kind of a shithole.
Yeah, people think it's a dump.
Yeah.
My Chicago friends have no idea. They were talking around Detroit. I'm like, dog, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, you got to come visit me. We'll go around the city. It's a nice city now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people traveling from different places to the NFL draft realize wow, this city it's nice, it's clean. There's stuff to do around here, like good places to eat, good places to go party. There's casinos. I mean, it's a great town, but that's awesome to hear from Patty Kane. And yeah, hopefully it brings other guys here, other big names.
Yeah, and Vladimir Tarasenko said he was very happy to be on the Red Wings, and I'm assuming that if I watched the presser, the facial expression, the body language would say that, and that's what you want to see. Veteran guys who have 2 Stanley Cups, who want to come play for this team.
Yeah,
like that is just so amazing that we are finally another team is entering that type of pedigree, like the Lions. Players want to play for the Lions.
Yeah.
And now players are starting to want to play for the Red Wings.
Yeah, and it's an historic franchise too.
Yeah, and if people are gonna say, we're betting on rookie parlays, but it's so much different because the rookies will be insulated by high level talent, and they're not going to be asked to produce day one right out of the open the season. Like, we're going to get an infrastructure down before all of them are up there, and where all of them are just going to file into where they fit. And I'm uber hoping that Nate Danielson makes the roster at some point during the season because I love him. I want to see him. I want to see him play with Kane and Tarasenko, which honestly leads me straight into my second topic here, which is Tarasenko as I was talking to D-Mac and Neil today, and because I want Tarasenko to play with Raymond because I want to see Raymond blossom. Mm-hmm. I think that is a amazing wing pairing, but they kind of think that Cat and Kane don't necessarily work together except on the power play. So we're probably going to end up doing Tarasenko and Kane, which is an exciting line. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. But and then the power play will look Tarasenko replacing Perron, and then I don't know who's going to replace Ghost. I don't know. It could. I hope it's Mo Seider. Mo Seider would be the exciting choice, the choice that would be most fitting for this rebuild per se. Yeah, he would be that for the rest of his career here. As we hope that he signs a 5, 6, 7 year contract as he's 25 years old, and you want to lock him up long term.
Yeah. Well, what should be impressive for the Wings is that all those names you just mentioned, I recognize those names, so that has to mean they're pretty good players, and I'm not a big hockey guy. Guys like Mo Seider, Lucas Raymond, Tarasenko, Kane, DeBrincat. I mean, this sounds like a very, very good team. Now, I think you've touched on this before. I just haven't seen it. Is this a playoff team right now, the Red Wings?
Oh yeah, 100%. Their weakest part last year was goaltending. They added Cam Talbot, who I'm very high on. That is you want to talk about goalie tiers. There's the A-level guys.
Yep.
Talbot is a really high B-, or not B-, B+.
Yeah.
And you could, he can middle into that A- category when he gets hot. Where Lyon middles into that B+ category when he's hot, maybe the lowest end of A-, but Lyon is a B-level goalie. And everyone needs to get that through their head. Talbot will be the starter on this team. He has the veteran experience. He's proven he's done it over a full season. And the stats are there as well. It's not even remotely close. I think Edmondson is a sneaky option to be MPP. I think he has Victor Hedman potential all over. And that's Chase Amley, another hockey elite. I agree. I'd love to see Edmondson. I think that will prove this year. I think because if Mo Seider gets locked into that role, I think it's going to be tough to move him off of there. But then you can find somewhere else to put Edmondson. But I could definitely see Edmondson as a sneaky power play option. Chooses has me bricked on Talbot now, right? Yeah, I mean, you should be bricked on Talbot. I think Talbot makes this team a playoff team, and then adding Tarasenko to replace Perron on a cheaper deal than Perron was on, by the way. Perron was on $5.5 million, and Tarasenko is on $4.5 million. So that think about that, that's a player who had more points, who has better pedigree, a better tier player, and he signed him for less money. That's the Eyes are playing to a core. It's crazy. And then a lot of love for the city. That was from earlier. I believe the playoffs this year due to the team chemistry. I think the team chemistry is going to be on a great level. I think we have a lot of team guys. I think very exciting roster. I think the defense will be improved with Edmondson. I think he is a physical D you desperately need to add to this team. I think that you need Larkin to be healthy. That is the biggest thing for this team. And then going into the year after, you need to either have Marco Kasper be ready to man that fourth line or third line, or you need to bring in a second center that can be your 2C or 1C, so that this team is so loaded down the middle, where your four lines going at you hard. And then I think the D core, honestly, I don't even think they'll add a D in free agency next year. I think they're going to lean completely on the kids, and you're going to see a young group of defensemen. Maybe you'll sign one true veteran, because Petrie's contract will be done, Mata's contract will be done. I believe Sherratt has another year. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going into that season, and you're definitely going to go after another goal scorer, no matter if that's a center or a winger, because there's some great ones on the market, especially some vets.
Yeah, that's kind of like what you were saying, though. Like, what Yzerman didn't do is he didn't go out and, spend a bag on a player to almost shorten the window of shorten the contending window, you know what I mean? Like, so I love that next year could be all young guys on all young defensemen, just so they can grow and play together. And yeah, I mean, everything. Like I said, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but from the outside looking in the hockey world, it looks like the Yzer plan is going as planned.
Yeah, because you have to. No one really understands unless you're microscopic on the Wings, how bad it was in the beginning. And everyone says it, but people don't actually realize it. Like, talent discrepancy, bad cap situation, still paying contracts from that era to this day, by the way. And it's ridiculous. And Steve K, this is an interesting point. This team feels like a late 80s Wings team. Well, those are some good-ass Wings teams, and it does. We're bringing in big bodies, and you're gonna have MBN ready next year. Our draft pick from this year, he's gonna be ready. Danielson will 100% be ready to make the jump to the NHL next year. So you're really getting to the nitty gritty of this prospect core that is ranked number 2 in the NHL, where we already have 5 legitimate scoring threats under contract next year. We have 2 top of the line defensemen. I don't know if you consider Sherratt top of the line, but he's a very solid defenseman. Mo Sider, A grade defenseman, could be a possible Norris candidate, and you got Evanson, who will at least be a B level defenseman. Hopefully, he gets into that B plus A minus tier by next year. And that's when this team will truly be in a great place to win. And Holland is looking for a job if Steve needs an assistant. How about no? Let's not bring in Ken Holland. That's a bad idea, and I would absolutely lose my damn mind, 100%. But let's keep pushing. I got a bunch more topics to talk about. The Pistons, I'm going to talk about it for 2 seconds because they're not my favorite topic to talk about. And then we have a bunch of Tigers topics we have to jump in because there's a bunch of news today.
Yeah.
But we're going around. I guess we're going around the league because I have topics for every single sports team today.
Mm-hmm.
So, they signed me. Beasley.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm blanking. They signed Malik Beasley.
Yep.
Who 3-and-D shooting guard.
Yeah.
So I guess 2-and-D. Or no. See, I don't understand. What's the definition of 3-and-D?
3-and-D
is 3-and-D the position, or is it that they can shoot and play defense? Because that's what I think it is.
3-and-D is 3-point shooting and defense.
Okay.
But
so he's a 3-and-D shooting guard who shoots a 39 or 41% career clip, and he's a great defender. That's every single thing that this team needed. That's where you wanted to see the draft pick, but I guess the draft pick doesn't matter anymore because Malik Beasley throws Ron Holland lower on your rotation and allows him the time to actually develop and not have to be thrown into the starting lineup or some shit like that, like how we have been with our rookies in the past.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Malik Beasley is not the greatest defender, but he's definitely serviceable, especially if you throw him in a lineup with Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson can guard the opposing team's best player. If that's a guard, if that's a forward, Asar is going to guard the other team's best player unless it's Joel Embiid, a center. But I just tweeted out today, I think a lineup of Cade, Malik Beasley, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren, that team's going to win a couple games. Then you have a guy like Jaden Ivey, Marcus Sasser, Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, Tim Hardaway Jr., all those guys coming off the bench. I'm not saying this is a good team, but this is definitely improvement over what's the lineups we've seen in years past. And I think fully healthy and a couple players making progression like Duren on defense or Ivy with the 3-ball, I could see this being a 32-33 win team. Maybe that's kind of the peak. But
yeah, that's probably the ceiling.
Yeah, that's the I would
floor,
say.
I'd say it's probably 20 wins, 22 wins.
But it's hard.
But something would have to go terribly wrong for that.
It's hard for me to say that just because I'm a huge Cade Cunningham guy. They know, I've been talking about Cade Cunningham for the past 2 weeks, but I'm a big Cade guy, and I think he's an all-star, and it's gonna be tough to only win 20 games. But I could have said that last year, and they won 14. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's I would say 30 anything more than 30 wins, they're overachieving.
And it gives you, and this is where I like this roster, is you can match up in a bunch of different ways and be flexible with your lineup packages.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you don't want to run that lineup, which is probably the lineup that I think will be with Tim Hardaway Jr. as the sixth man.
Yeah.
You can also do Cade, THJ, Beasley, Tobias Harris, and Duran and shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
And then that's what I like.
Cade would average 1 million assists, and it
Yeah.
would be awesome. And yeah, LNW says, people forget we won't have Monty running all bench lineups of Evan Fournier and James Wiseman and starting Killian half the season. This is a new era. You're 100% right. Like, these lineups are going to be staggered. We're going to see the Cade and Ivy experiment still. We're going to see Cade running the pick and roll with guys like Isaiah Stewart. We're going to see lineups like you just said.
Pick and pops with Tobias Harris.
Yep, pick and pops with Tobias Harris, pick and pops with Stu too, who didn't shoot bad from 3 last year. And like you said, we're probably going to see a lineup with Cade, Beasley, THJ, Tobias, and Stu for a shooting lineup. There's a lot of lineup flexibility here, and Ron Holland gives you a lot of flexibility as well because he could guard, just like Asar Thompson, he could guard 1 through 4.
So, shout out Stephen K. I appreciate you listening to us and appreciating the non-yelling factor of these sports conversations for the most part. LNW thinks that we will compete for a play-in spot this season. 36 wins, got the 10th seed last season. So you think that we're going to have around 36 wins, or are you thinking more on the end of like low 30s? Because that's a big difference. Like, we're talking about a jump of 20 wins.
Yeah.
Like, that's a ton of wins in the NBA and a massive improvement. So I'd love to see it. Based on no playing evidence, I expect 30 wins. Josephine, I think that is a very realistic number for that. And I'm now, I'd say I was at a 3 interested in the Pistons before free agency. I'll give them a 7 now. And
we'll take it.
And for a borderline fan that probably lives at a 5, like, I'd say a 7 for a team that probably will only win 30 games. That's good. I think that's a very realistic thought process on them.
Yeah.
And an enjoyment factor. Because for the Wings, I'm at a 10. For the Lions, I'm at a 10. I'm probably at a 12 for the Lions. Yeah. Honestly.
Yep. Like, everybody should, yeah. It's the Lions are exciting. But I'm ride or die Pistons, which last year sucked really, really bad. But, you know, with Trajan coming in, he's pointing out the flaws we have on the team, and he's overcorrecting them, which is a good thing.
Which is unlike the Tigers do.
Yes.
We'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah, and Troy Weaver, what he was doing was he was just, if you want me to be honest, I have no clue what that guy was doing. I don't think he knew what he was doing. So there's a different vibe, I think, with the Pistons this year, like coming up next year. And it all starts with Trajan. It all starts up top. And I like what we got so far.
Yeah, I do too. And you know what I do not like, though, is someone who is returning to the Detroit Tigers today.
Not a fan of this.
You know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Javi Baez. And before we even talk about it, I'm going to read the comments that they were saying to open the show before we started talking about it. LW, Almago will either hit a homer or at least an RBI tonight. Almago revenge season after his All-Star snub. I think he was joking. Almago for 3 Ks. Nick Hedegen, yeah, that's probably what will happen. Almago plus minus, he swings at a 2-foot outside pitch. I wouldn't say plus minus. I'd say the odds on it are 1.5, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah.
You would lose money betting the under. It would be like minus 10,000.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it has to be at 1.5 because he's going to swing at 1. Alan W., how could they not put a elite tagger on the All-Star team? That was just a fade who said that to Alan W. And I don't know. I don't know how they couldn't put him on the All-Star team. His tagging is absolutely elite.
Snubbed.
I don't think I am as bad at anything as Almago is at hitting the ball. It's impressive how bad you can be and still get paid. That I agree. That is absolutely wild.
It's crazy.
Alan W. was joking. Well, even though you were joking, it was still funny.
Yeah.
I guess that's the point.
Okay, on the positive note, it's hard to be positive about Javi. But he's better than Ryan Kreidler. Ryan Kreidler
That is true.
No disrespect, Ryan.
He's a garbage can.
The worst the worst player I've ever seen play.
Yeah.
Ryan Kreidler. I mean, he was supposed to be a defensive wizard. He was awful on defense. He was terrible. And couldn't hit. He's better, and I would say, do you think Javi's better than Zach McKinstry? I think they're so even.
It's so even. It's so tough. Like, Javi should be hitting against lefties, and then McKinstry should be hitting against righties.
Yeah. Dude, why can't we have Bobby Witt? Like, why can't...
Literally.
Like why can't we have...
Why do MLB teams not just draft, like, a shortstop a year in the top 5 rounds to make sure you have a shortstop in your system?
Yeah.
Like, literally. Like, if you draft a shortstop 10 years in a row, you're going to find you're hit on one of them. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
And if you hit on multiple, it's a wild idea. You trade one.
Yeah, you trade them.
Play one at second.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh,
No, they wouldn't do that. No, they wouldn't do that. And you know what else?
No, we're going to try to play out-of-position players at second base.
Yeah.
And third base.
Yeah, and
platoon everything, yeah.
But when you have the chance to spend money on a third baseman, don't do it.
No,
don't do it.
No, we're going to play 3 people
there.
Yeah,
try Matt
Combined
Vierling.
salary of $2 million or $3 million.
Yeah, try Matt Vierling at third and see how that works, and then figure it out. It doesn't work, and then move him back to the outfield. But hey, we got Andy Ibanez, who is a good against left-handed pitching. But I can go on for hours about us not signing a third baseman for. It's just
literally
unbelievable.
It's malpractice. It's ridiculous. And Alan W. He's going to play. Kreidler should be going to play for the Beijing Tigers.
He wouldn't make that team.
Get ready to learn Chinese.
Yeah, he could play in the league where Trevor Bauer plays, wherever, like Mexico.
I don't even think he could play there.
Yeah, no, I don't. Actually, you're probably right. I don't think he could play there either.
So let's talk about a positive with the Tigers. Riley Green.
Yep.
And Tarek Skubal.
Yep.
All-star selections. No starting pitcher announcement for the American League yet. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's Skubal. It should be Skubal. There's no doubt about that, right?
Yeah. It's deserving. He should be throwing pitch number 1 in the All-Star game. He's been the best pitcher in baseball all year. I mean, there's an argument you could say Tyler Glasnow, but nobody's been as consistent and as dominant as Tarek Skubal this year. And I obviously there's rumors and a little birdies saying that they want to trade Skubal. I don't necessarily understand that. I get it if you can get like an absolute Juan Soto type haul, but we won't. But yeah, I'm so happy this guy is on our team.
You got to figure out something. And
I think you extend him. I think you give him a mega deal.
Yeah, you give him a mega deal because you're trying to tell me you can't find a relatively good lineup if you extend him for 5 years. Like, you have 7 years to build a contender with him.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. This is a player. This is your cornerstone player. Tariq Skubal is your cornerstone player. He's the player you build around. So when you finally have a player come up your system, why trade him? You know what I mean? Like, you finally hit on a guy. Al Avila hit on Tariq Skubal. He comes up the system. Why trade him? Like, you hit on someone finally. And that goes for Riley Green, too. Another all-star. He's not an all-star starter, but he's a reserve. That's another corner piece of your franchise. And could you imagine Riley Green's numbers if he was in a lineup with a little bit of protection? In a good lineup, he'd probably have a 950 OPS with way more homers and way more extra base hits if he was in a good lineup. Yeah,
I completely agree. And Alan W., if Chris doesn't open his wallet, I just don't see a path to the World Series without trading.
Without trading him. Oh yeah,
without trading him, if Chris doesn't spend money, there is no path.
I think it's I think that's dependent on guys like Jace Jung and Malloy, even Torkelson, and Max Clark. I'm in between on it because yes, I want them to spend money. Absolutely, I want Chris Ilitch to show that he actually cares. But at the same time, our farm system is good enough. And I would like to see how these guys pan out for the next year, I'll say. If Jung isn't a Major League Baseball player by the end of the year, I know he's rehabbing right now in low A, but if he's not on the Major League roster by the end of the year, that shows they don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point. And
yeah.
I completely agree 100%. And Ryan says these guys could do 2 hours easy. Shout out. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Tigers should wait till the end of the season. They'll open a paybook if they want to be good. If not, no one should watch the Tigers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if Illich does that. I don't know if he does it.
Yeah, it's still it's still an interesting conversation to open up, and it's probably more hypothetical than reality, because it's so hard to see a world where they actually do trade him.
Yeah, it is, because kind of like I was saying, that's they hit on someone, that's their corner piece. And back to Chris Illich a little bit. So I was talking about this on the heavyweights. So when he took over the team, when his dad Mike Illich passed away, who was a great GM, who spent money, he was the reason those teams like Miggy, Prince Fielder, like those teams were built. They were top 5 in payroll most of the years, and they were also in the top 5 to 10 in runs scored. If you look at what Chris Illich has done, they haven't been top 15 in payroll since he's gotten here, and they also haven't been close to top 15 in runs scored. They've been
that's a good stat.
They've been last a couple years in runs scored. They've been 28th, 27th, 26th. I mean, you see the issue here, Chris Illich. Go spend some money on some bats. I get you're trying to look at guys like Riley Green and Torkelson and Jung and Max Clark and be like, okay, these are the guys that are going to take us to the playoffs. You gotta implement a veteran bat in there that isn't Mark Canha or Gio Urshela. You have to go get all-star or fringe all-star level bats if you want to compete and help out these young hitters in your lineup.
100%. And I think Rando Smalls brings up a great point. You should be 2 for 1 for a bat. I'd be shopping the likes of Manning, Montero, and Jackson Jobe for bats.
Not Jobe. Jobe's Manning and Montero for sure. Jobe is going to be...
There's a couple other pitchers that are in our top 10 that I would shop, but I don't think I would shop.
I'd shop Faedo, probably. Faedo was one of those guys that was supposed to be, in that... When it was
I'd shop Bo Brisky right now.
I'd shop Bo Brisky.
He looks like a revelation from the bullpen.
I'd see what you can maybe get for Casey Mize. If you could package something.
I don't know if I'd deal Mize. I like him being like our 3rd or 4th starter.
You're holding on to hope
a little bit.
I'm trying.
But
I
don't think there's any value in the trade market either.
Yeah, for him especially, because he's been hurt, and he's been bad this year. Honestly, he's had a couple good starts, but there's players it's really depending on what happens these next 2 series. It goes from, shout out Nick, but it goes from, we go to Cleveland and then LA. It's really dependent on what happens in those 2 series. I think what we do at the deadline. If we compete in those 2 series and we can get to 500, I could see them maybe trading.
Oh, dude, don't give me hope, because I've been depressing the shit out of me.
Dude,
the Red Series was good. That's actually the first time I watched, and I was actually happy I did in a while, because they've been absolutely killing me lately.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the All-Star conversation, because I want to get your thoughts on who you think is going to win the All-Star game.
I haven't really dug deep into the raw.
I'm gonna read them to you.
Okay, yeah.
I have them right here.
All right.
So the American League is Adley Rutschman, Vlad Guerrero, Jose Altuve, Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, Steven Kwan, Juan Soto, and Yordan Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
The NL is William Contreras, Bryce Harper, Ketel Marte, Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, Juxon Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr., Christian Yelich, shout out revelation season for him, Shohei Ohtani.
Those are pretty even teams. Do you have the pitchers?
Or
just the top 3 starters?
Yeah, here's the pitchers. Tyler Anderson, Corbin Burns, Emmanuel Clase, Garrett Crochet, Logan Gilbert, Clay Holmes, Tyler Hoke, Seth Lugo, Mason Miller, Cole Reagans, Terex Kubel, Kirby Yates.
Mm-hmm.
NL, Tyler Glasnow, Ryan Hazley, Hoffman, Shota Umanga, Chris Sale, Lopez, Sale, Scott, Skeens, Strahan, Suarez, Philly, and San Diego, Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler.
I'm probably going to go the NL. I think the pitching
pitching is unbelievable.
That NL pitching is pretty crazy. And then...
the lineups are even.
Yeah, they're even. Yeah, because, you even say, a guy like Jurickson Profar, he's a great hitter.
And Steven Kwan are completely comparable.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the guy on the AL, yeah.
For the AL. So, there's no reason to me why they're... then it will be a great game. And then that leads me into this next question, which while I'm doing this, if you could pull up who's in the home run derby, because I'd love to know. I have no idea.
The only person I've seen so far commit,
Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso did, and I saw Bobby Witt is also going to do it.
Okay, all right, that's two interesting names. But the MLB All-Star Game is amazing. The only thing that I'd like to tweak about it is going back to the winner deciding who gets home field advantage for the playoffs, because I really enjoyed that. I think it made the games more intense.
Yeah.
I do love the mid-game interviews. I think those are so sick. AL all the way, AL fan rooting for the AL. Yeah, of course I'm rooting for the AL, but the NL looks to be loaded. I hope they win.
So it's looking like Bobby Witt, Pete Alonso, Alec Boehm.
Okay, Alec Boehm's interesting. Gunnar Henderson.
And then I did see Marcelo Zuna. I think he committed today. There has to be a couple more.
And then Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
All right. So that's, damn, I don't know. I mean, obviously the leader in the clubhouse from that group is Pete Alonso.
Yeah, he's a vet. That's his World Series.
And he's definitely mad. Like, he was getting hyped up last year and then lost. I would expect a redemption arc for Pete Alonso. But what All-Star game do you think needs some improvements? I do actually like what the NFL did. Like, if they're not going to tackle, I like that they're going to play flag.
Yeah.
Like, it's at least fun to watch. It's a little clown. Like, they're having a good time. They look like they're enjoying being there, playing with the best. I like that. The NHL, I think that the peak was before they went to 3-on-3. I don't know if I love the 3-on-3 tournament, but it is entertaining. But it's not like how it used to be when it was 2 teams, because when there's 4 teams and you're playing like a tournament, there is some like there's not a lot of defense being played, and it's kind of a clown show. So I wish that they take it more serious. The NBA All-Star Game, I think, is kind of on a little bit of a downtick.
It absolutely is.
It used to be better. All-Star, like the skills competitions used to be better. Like, I used to be locked in on that. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it.
Yeah, the 3-point contest is like the only one worth watching, but I think. So the NFL gets a lot of slack for what they did, but like, what do you really want them to do? These guys aren't going to go full contact, you know what I mean? And they don't want to get hurt.
They're not risking injury.
Yeah, they're not. And it's at the end of the year, so you don't get any of the players from the Super Bowl playing. So that's a tough one.
Which always has great players who are playing.
Yeah, like I can't tell you the next time we'll see Pat Mahomes in a Pro Bowl, because he's going to be in the Super Bowl every year. But I don't know. I just feel like you can maybe give a little more incentives to the players for winning in the NBA, just because those are like the difference between like a average basketball player to an NBA player is crazy. Like, watching the best players in the world compete at the highest level, like that's 30 of the best players in the world, and they just don't play defense against each other. It's basically like a dunk contest. So
yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah, I'd like to see them
pulling up from like the logo, which is cool, but it's actually defense being played on you. And
yeah, I would like to see. I sound like an old head when I say this, but like, I want to see more defense played in those games, because it just shows how good those guys are.
Because when they are playing actual basketball, like when they were playing, like when it gets down to like the last little bit of the game and they're actually competing for like that final score, they're actually moving the rock, like they're playing good basketball. Like that's an all-star game. Like that's like you're the best of the best. You're showing off how you play the game, and that's so crucial to grow the game, like honestly, and like all-star games do grow the game, and it gets eyes on because it is the best players. So I think that's just an absolute missed opportunity in some of the all-star games. Chase Amley agrees with me. Home field advantage should be on the table for the World Series and the MLB All-Star Game. Rando Smalls brings up an interesting point. NFL needs to do something like the QB challenge for every position. I think that'd be dope. Like, imagine receivers having to go through a not like the catch that catch thing's boring.
Yeah, that thing's
like imagine if like they had to put on like soapy gloves or something. And catch or something like that, which made their hands slippery. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I like watching the QB.
The QB challenge is cool.
Yeah,
I like that one. Or like they should bring back the longest throw competition.
Yeah,
like that was dope. Because also there's guys you never expect to be in it, and they're like who don't necessarily have great arms.
Yeah,
and they're hauling. Like I saw Jim Harbaugh throwing that shit.
Yeah,
he was throwing nukes. It's awesome to watch him show off and competing. Yeah, that's about the quarterbacks. Yeah, 100%. You need to give the players a payday to win. That's how you fix this. Nick Hedgeham, it's a great point. 100%. It's probably the only way to fix it. The problem is the NBA All-Star Game used to be a shootout, but now the league regular season is that way.
Yeah, like I get what he's saying. Like every game's like that, and every game is like the All-Star Game. But yeah, I mean
the regular season in the NBA sucks.
The early 2000s.
I only watch college basketball during the regular season.
Yeah, the early 2000s All-Star games, NBA All-Star games were. I mean, I was really young, but I still watch clips on YouTube and stuff. Those were so sick. They were actually playing hard defense, and the scores would be 110 to 100. It'd be like a normal basketball game.
Chase Amley, NHL All-Star Week could use a revamp. Don't like the way it's set up with each division. Yeah, I agree, Chase. I think that they easily need a revamp. They need to retool. Because it's cool watching them play with their division, but I'd rather them draft. How they didn't it was 2014 probably. It was one of the first couple years of the draft when Ovechkin was trying to be the last pick of the draft. Yeah. He had a sign. He was like, "Don't pick me. I need a car." Because the last pick got a car, and that was you had Chara, the shootout competition where he set the world record for the slap shot. Yeah. Those were the days, and where it actually was. And you should not be bringing in other players who aren't all-stars to be in the competitions.
Yeah, yeah.
In the NBA, maybe there's I guess
they bring in those the G League Ignite.
But no, those should not be brought in.
Yeah.
G Leaguers should Mac McClung should not be in the dunk contest.
No.
He's cool. Yeah, he's entertaining, but what the hell are we doing?
That is something they need to change. They need to find something. They need to make
something
to the dunk contest, because that used to be the coolest shit ever.
I will now watch the dunk contest.
No, I haven't watched it in years. Watched it in years.
It's actually ass. NHL could really improve if it got rid of Gary Bettman. Yeah, Gary Bettman during the draft. Did you watch any of the draft?
I did not.
All right, I didn't expect it, but during the draft, he looked like such a dweeb. Every pick, he's up there just looking like a dweeb.
Is he the commissioner?
Yeah.
Gary Bettman?
Yeah. So, he's just standing there, so awkwardly, and then, the draft picks come up, and, a couple of them swerved him, didn't give him a handshake. It was funny. He's just such a goober. I don't like Gary Bettman. Him and Rob... Do you like Rob Manfred?
No, I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't either.
I also am not the biggest fan of Goodell. But Adam Silver, I don't think has done a terrible job.
Adam Silver's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think Goodell...
Rob Manfred's the worst now.
Goodell gets a little bit too much flack for he's pretty solid. I mean, he's not great, but he's solid. Adam Silver's definitely the upper echelon of American league commissioners, I'd say.
Yeah. Roger Goodell's just kind of like a squeeb. He seems like I don't know, no fun guy. Dude, I don't know, the stuff that happened with Portnoy, how they're all banned from all NFL stuff and whatever. They're bringing more viewers. Yeah, that's
so stupid.
I don't know, but I mean, I guess they're doing the best they can. Besides Rob Manfred, he's a clown.
All right, well, we got to wrap up because Caleb's got his job to do on heavyweights.
Yes, sir.
Tune in, tap in, follow Caleb on the socials, smash that like button. Thank you for tuning in to YingYangSports. I am Justin. That is Caleb. And it was a pleasure bringing you this episode today. Caleb, take him out.
Everybody have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. Be safe. Let's do it. Let's go.